me, and this has been sort of part of my own personal sort of career background, but also something I think we've seen from Fosway's point of view and working, with our corporate network, on sort of the corporate side of the equation, that the most successful functions are the ones that do, whether you call it experimentation, piloting, testing, different organizations have different ways of working, but that sense of, sort of build, measure, learn, that product management approach, I think is really, really important. And I think it's something that the industry is getting better at. And it feels like there's something important in that way of working and way of thinking that brings in, sort of triangulates your user and audience insight with your business insight, and the relationships, that you've been describing, but also like that, with the sort of the technology and the digital environment, it brings those three elements together to understand, your prioritization, and then, sort of test towards priorities.
I was just going to ask, in terms of your, your work with Fosway, do you have, in terms of those like best practices with regard to experimentation, in terms of length of experiments, do you see kind of a standardization across many of the organizations you work with, or does it really vary?
No, I think it probably varies, not necessarily by organization, but by context. So I think, if you sort of something like, you're developing a development program or a learning program, with a capital P, it's much harder to experiment with that, because you've got, that's more about probably the research and investigation that leads you up to, perhaps piloting. And so you sort of do more up front to be more confident as you start and pilot and develop from there. I think probably then it's more about the context of using tools. Maybe this is more about managing content and content creation and publishing, where that cycle of experimentation can be quicker, but also perhaps you can do more in terms of, maybe you can release different types of content. You can do more of that kind of A/B testing. So I think it's more about the context, and also, I mean, as you said, it's about the sort of capability and time as well. You need to be realistic that in a busy day with a small team, an experiment's not necessarily welcome because you've got stuff to do. So I think you need to be realistic about it. I suppose I think it's more the confidence in the uncertainty, really, that you haven't got the answer yet, and you need to work to find the best solution, but not the perfect solution. And I think there's something that requires a bit of confidence in judgment as well from experience, which it's a bit counterintuitive, and it's hard to let go of. You think in 3 months' time we know where we'll be. Actually, well, you won't. But in 3 months' time you'll be confident that you took good steps in the right direction, and you know more about where you need to go next. I think it's a sort of shift in mindset as much as it is, a sort of an application of particular techniques.